Hello and welcome back, boys, girls, and NBs. We're jumping into game 2, hot and fast. Vitality selected blue side. In game 1, they banned Gragas, Rakan, and Jinx. So far on the same path. Vidi, what are you expecting to change, if anything? I don't want Maokai, personally.
It's gonna be the salty run back. The concern I have for Vitality with blue side is right now I feel like that they don't have a huge amount of confidence in their blind picks. I want to see the Jayce or Kennen first pick. Just do it. Yesterday, we saw Kennen win like every game. Like, Kennen is just really good. And even into the Jayce matchup, there are things that you can do as Kennen to be able to get ahead in that lane because Kennen is so great at setting up your lane for success. It has so many tools. So just, here it is. It's open. Vitality, lock in the Kennen.
I will tell you, by the way, in all of Photon's games, and I can see 130 of them, he only has 2 Kennen games all time. 1 win, 1 loss.
There's no shot he doesn't play Kennen.
The salty run back has started. Maokai has been locked in, but of course, with Jinx being available, Jayce Jinx was something we were talking about pre-show, and it is a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great pickup here as well. The fact that you get the opportunity now to just completely outrange Vitality if you want to is going to be fantastic. But they're actually just going to go straight for the Sejuani, and I think this is a bit of a call-out for Upset. Upset only has a 7% win rate on Jinx, and now it's a big question of do you go for it? But no, actually going to get the Rumble in the top lane instead.
I was about to say Mad Lions are setting themselves up for a Sylas priority pick, especially into the Maokai. But to see Vitality highly prioritize the top side, that is where we're seeing that shift. They were hoping for the Jayce priority last game. They didn't get it. This time, though, they have the Rumble answer, and they're going to be able to get their AD mid with the Tristana that was banned away from them last game. So it seems that Vitality a lot more confident and happy with what they've been able to get this time around.
The Jinx going to be taken there for Carzzy in that bot side, though, which means the Mad Lions more than likely going to ban away things like the Aphelios, maybe the Xayah here as well. The Lucian could be the other one, just to make sure that you're fully comfortable on that bot lane. And I mean, with Rakan already gone as well, there's not a huge amount that can really contest this Jinx now, but I'm curious to see what Vitality can do with this Rumble. We've seen it a lot from Shanji over in the LPL on OMG. He likes to play hyper aggressive, and then you just try and look for fights specifically around Rift Herald and that, and it feels like that's what Vitality's setting up for us.
Do you want to know how many games Photon has played a Rumble?
Tell me.
1. It was a victory. This will be his second ever, and we'll see whether or not it's going to work out. Perkz with that Tristana, most likely going to the mid lane. Cassiopeia has been removed from the pool. One more ban here from Mad Lions, and the question we are definitely going to have is what's the answer to Jinx? Jinx has been one of the surprise hits so far throughout playoffs. I'm saying we'll have to try find something into it. Xayah has now been removed as well. So Mad Lions, will they be locking in as Brom's been banned?
I think you need to take the Thresh here, because otherwise you end up with the opportunity for Upset and Kaiser to go for Aphelios Thresh, which I imagine Aphelios is probably going to be the answer. And either way, you could probably go with maybe the Lulu there for Kaiser, but it still leaves Vitality in a similar spot to what we saw, I mean, a lot of times, honestly, from the drafts, which is so little engaged.
They might, I agree with you, Thresh probably makes sense, but they also might go Sylas, and then look to counterpick support is the other thing they might consider. And that's what they're going to do. Yep. When you have Sejuani, it's a big indicator that you're looking at a Sylas pick, especially for Nisqy. I think it's great into Maokai. You also have the Rumble ultimate that you can look to steal away. The Aphelios response, as you talked about, Upset is one of the players in Europe that we know can play it. Wouldn't be surprised to see... Oh, hang on a second. He's shifting his priorities around, just flexing possible AD carries, but the Aphelios will be the lock.
Yeah, because what I was curious to see from Mad Lions is if they go, I know you end up with the melee mid matchup, but there is the opportunity to take something like a Cassiopeia, you play from range with Jayce and the Jinx, and then you can go for something like the Thresh or the Tahm Kench to keep this composition safe. You've decent engage with the Sejuani, you've great disengage as well with her and the Cassiopeia, but they are going to instead just look to try and use that early skirmishes and play for the level, or the 8-minute mark, because right now, the amount of damage that is coming in at the top side from both sides of the equation is absolutely insane.
Well, last second pivot there to the Renata. So Dagda, when you zoom out and look at these two compositions, you mentioned already, top half of the map is going to be crazy. You've obviously got heavy scaling from those bot laners as well. What do you make of the adaptations? And do you favor either of these drafts?
So I like the Nautilus coming through, because as we already said, I think Vitality needed more engaged tools. This will set them up very nicely for when they can try and play around some of these Rift Heralds on the top side, play for the level 6 off of Photon and Bow. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned about is when you look across Mad Lions with the Renata pivot, everything that Vitality does is jump in, play around the lockups from Maokai, play around the Rumble equalizer, like trying to play around the Kaiser. Renata does fantastic into that, not only in lane, but also when you get to the later stages. And especially if you can try and keep someone like a Sylas alive so he can get the resets and fights, that is absolutely terrifying for that squad.
I have many thoughts. I have many thoughts.
Please share them with us.
Well,
If only had a platform to do so.
I know. I was more like, where do I start?
You gotta run out of time, so you gotta go quick.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is how safe do I believe Carzzy is, right? Because I think that with the Renata, I would have preferred the Tahm Kench. I understand why they've gone for the Renata, so they have a slightly stronger lane, 2 versus 2. But as long as Carzzy lives, Mad will always be able to win out on fights. And that, for me, is the biggest concern. We'll see if these adaptations are enough for Vitality. We're getting ready for Game 2, so without further ado, let's jump in.
Absolutely love the summary you just gave, Vedi. If Carzzy stays alive, then Mad Lions can win fights. That's what we've seen from Jinx comps time and time again.
It's a situation where when you look at Vitality's comp, especially when you have 2 AD carries, you think, oh, front to back. Oh, there's pause. Pause has come out from Vitality's side. Once we have more information, we will be able to share it with you.
I think there's a bit confusion about whether or not they're playing ARAM. Perkz spent so much time in the mid lane surrounded by Mad Lions. That is a very clear joke for everyone. One quick thing, while we do have a pause, I'll get an update to you in a moment or two. But I asked our stats team to take a look at the all-time head-to-head between Perkz and Nisqy, and including Game 1. Perkz is 14-7 up over Nisqy individually. And the only reason I do like to look at that historically, I think Nisqy in 2023 is starting to write a new chapter, a new story on his particular impact and influence on the game and his team. Was a crucial part of their winter success. He was spoon-fed every single kill in Game 1, and now he's a champion that is one of his more signature ones as well.
Well, what's really interesting about Nisqy, and I can tell you that this is very much shared in terms of like fan sentiment, is that like he is the benchmark for top EU mids. If you have to kind of go past him if you want to be considered one of the best in Europe, because when you look across his history, even back in the days when he was on, I believe it was Splice, when he was coached by Yamato. I think it was the Casio and the like he's always been a mid laner that's existed around the top of Europe, right? He's always been there. Sometimes he struggled to break into the top 2. There have been splits where he is top 2, but then the fan sentiment is always, if Nisqy is our strongest mids, then we're concerned internationally, because that is where Nisqy as a player has really failed to leave a significant impact. And I think that's the only thing that's really missing for him and his career. And of course, now that Mad's destiny is in their own hands, if they could win a split off the back of Nisqy and Elyoya's great jungle mid synergy, that is going to be tested once again. And that is what, to many, will be the immediate thing that's put under scrutiny for Nisqy in particular.
I mean, even for Nisqy, the fact he hasn't got an EMEA title yet. I mean, got one over with Cloud9, right, in NA, but to actually be able to pick a title up for himself in his own region will be absolutely fantastic. And then seeing if he can make it on to MSI and kind of prove a lot of the doubts wrong. Yeah,
I mean, fell short, obviously, in winter. Needs to pick up 2 more wins here today to face off against BDS, and Nisqy will be the man stepping forward into the middle. All right, welcome back. Game 2, 2 minutes in. No shenanigans early on. And I want to keep a close eye on that top half of the map and see whether or not these high damage duos start to get off a strong start.
So, Dagda, obviously you're a core member of the LEC talent team, but we still think of you very highly as an LPL expert. Well, I was thinking of the LPL expert. So, Shanji's Rumble. What's the word? Educate all of us Europeans on how fantastic it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very strong in lane. Obviously, the big difference is because we got the buffs coming through, I want to say it was on 13-7, where you end up seeing the changes to his E. So you end up wanting to land both the harpoons because you get an insane amount of magic resistance shred, and that's where a lot of this damage is going to come through from Photon, especially as you hit the level 3. Obviously, you want to try and manage your heat successfully, but one of the big things that Rumble does struggle with is if you can't hit those electric harpoons, well, then you can't really close the distance onto those range matchups. Bo will appear to try and make sure Photon can have a decent time, though, spotted by Elyoya.
And unlike Game 1, Bo this time around doesn't get taken out. Potential 2v2 on the cards here. Elyoya stepping into the tri-bush. Flame Spitter onto Chasy, burning him down. Second harpoon didn't connect there. Elyoya and Chasy pushing back. Mid lane is under pressure as well, so is bot. So Vitality off to a strong start. The engage comes out. Elyoya down to 200, but I was going to flash for that, despite the flash ignite on the side of Photon. If anyone sticks around, it could get a bit hairy.
Really interesting pathing from Bo. You'll notice that he doesn't have a buff. he's done Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, and immediately made it to top side. We didn't talk much about this early game jungle pathing, but...
Look at that damage. Ignite is burning underneath the tower. First blood secured and fetches away to safety. Elyoya gets the reply. Hit him with the drill. Not going to work out. 1-for-1 trade.
Photon was overheated, so couldn't get any of his spells off now on the bot side.
There's the root, there's the boop, there's the flash from Carzzy. Cleanse used as well. Upset and Kaiser pushing them back. Vitality off to a much stronger start. They get the first blood, but there was the reply back.
A lot of what they were trying to do on the top side there was wait for Photon to hit level 3. The problem that you have with Rumble level 1 and level 2 is that you have to obviously use your spells to hit the overheat, but you want to be using your W to try and get there, so then you still have your damage abilities when you go for trades. Photon hits level 3 and immediately Vitality try to take the trade, but with the flash under tower, it all goes a bit sideways, and now Bo might be caught out again.
And we knew that this top lane matchup was going to be volatile. Both junglers recognized that in the early game and wanted to get them ahead. The fact that it was Vitality that drew first blood and the kill went over to Photon is so fantastic for him. The TP now being invested from Chasy makes this top lane matchup even better for Photon, because if they can force Chasy out of lane one more time, then this matchup can snowball out of control. Great play from the side of Vitality, good response from Elyoya, and I believe it was actually the aftershock that ended up keeping him alive, because that auto attack came in from Photon, but it just wasn't quite enough damage.
Yeah, we get to see it here. So watch, Photon hits level 3. That's where you can actually overheat. You get the extra damage off of the Flame Spitter. And then with Chasy, really good flash underneath the tower in response to Bo to make sure that he couldn't go into the tower. But Photon then again uses the extra little bit of the shield here to try and get underneath the tower. But just the triumph coming through, the aftershock, and then not having access to any of your spells because you're locked out when you're overheated means that Photon doesn't get to make the play.
Wow, very close stuff there. Could have been a double kill for Photon. But he's now going to be able to go back to base. You can see he did just buy boots, sold them, decided to buy damage boots instead.
I also want to highlight as well, keep your eye on the fact that Photon, he has that flash ignite, no teleport available to him. So that will be interesting to track how Vitality plays around the map and moves their individual champions. Down the bottom lane, despite Carzzy being engaged on, if you look at the summoner spell difference, 3 used for the Mad Lions duo, only Kaiser's ignite is down, so they've still got all their sums up. Kaiser's already roaming, moving into that river to place those wards. So for now, Vitality in a much happier start. As Perkz will get engaged on. Buster shots being hijacked away. Nisqy looking very strong. Flash still available for Perkz as well as W in the R, and he's going to hop away to safety.
For those interested, Nisqy has taken 2 points in Q, 2 points in W. So often you'll see that Q max into range matchups to help with the wave clear, but Nisqy wants a little bit more trading power, so he has 2 levels in both. You can see him using that to great effect in this matchup. Still a little bit behind in CS, you'd very much expect. Kaiser looking for a hook.
Oh, not going to find it. Connects onto the minion. Handshaken backwards. Now Kaiser's dropped to 400. Bo going to taxi to the minion. And then will escape for now. Maybe if the champion had been hit, more could have happened, but still 3v3. The mid lane is under pressure, no further engaged just yet.
So, Observer team, if we can get that tri-lane view again, it would be great to look at. As you can see, the Vitality are really pushing everywhere right now. They have push in the top lane, they have push in the mid lane, and the main place that Bo needed to be was covering for bots. This is one of the biggest differences that we're seeing from game 1. Vitality have pressure all across the map, and Bo is in the right place at the right time. He was covering for top in the early game, he's now covering for bot at about 6 minutes in the game. And overall, Vitality are doing a much better job of leveraging their pressure to build small leads, while also mitigating what Elyoya can do on the map.
And you see there, Perkz pushing into the tower, picking up the plate. He's 10 CS up. In the bottom lane, Upset with the advantage. He's going to step away and pick up this first dragon uncontested. And I think for Bo in particular, when I saw the Maokai locked in game 1, not super excited, only because it's not a champion that I like seeing him on. I like him on the more aggressive, damage dealer style champions. This time around, having a significantly stronger start to the game. It's a 1,000 gold lead here for Vitality and that dragon. So they've got the tools they need to extend this pace.
And I think a lot of this, though, is going to come down to how Vitality try and play team fights, because a huge amount of it, when you see a Rumble and a Maokai, is a case of how do we try and corral people into the positions that we want, either separating people with the equalizer or keeping them in check so then you can allow Upset to get into a position, because there's a huge amount of range on Mad Lions. You definitely don't want to be in a position where you're just getting poked out by the Jinx and the Jayce before you even start the fight.
Kaiser trying to give a little bit of punishment back to Mad Lions. He's playing the Nautilus this time round. level 5, looking for the hook, stepping forward, and he's going to steal away that ulti. Bo's waiting as well, but it's just the wave being pressured. The Rift Herald is up, and look at the grouping. Elyoya and Chasy sitting towards the red buff. He hasn't moved just yet, and Mad Lions, they fancy a challenge. I don't know if they're going to, as they are stepping forward into the river. Here comes Nisqy. Still got that depth charge available to him. Aphelios is making his way from the top lane as well. Nature's Grasp comes down. Carzzy's a mile away. Elyoya is dropped low. Super Mega Death Rocket picks up the kill for Carzzy, but Nisqy is under threat. He's going to have the bailout, but will not find the kill. It is dropped in the river. Perkz, rocket jumps forward. He gets the reset. Now turning over to Carzzy and Chasy. Down to 200 HP. Flagship Lord for Hilly. Photon chases. Smack him with the overheated autos, and Vitality win the fights.
Mad Lions didn't reset in time to get up towards the top side, and by the time Carzzy and Hylissang join, Photon's there as well. Great movement from Vitality to get into position for that fight.
I think it's just such a massive risk for Mad to go for these mid-game fights. The first thing that Dagda said the second that we saw that Rumble pick was you want to leverage him around these mid-game Herald fights. Like, his biggest strength is, like, you only need Sork Boots to do so much damage on the Rumble. He has so much raw damage just from his levels, and Tristana, compared to a Sylas at this point in the game, feels so much stronger. The Maokai with the utility that you provide, Kaiser on the Nautilus, like, there are so many tools at this point in the game where it feels like Vitality have an easier play in terms of the fight. I feel like the Mad Lions should have prioritized looking for a cross map, maybe trying to trade for plates, but instead they went for the fight and they fall short.
Might even get to see a little bit more here for Vitality as well, because you can see Aphelios starting to move in towards the mid lane. They want to try and push this in and start to establish vision in the spot side, or in the spot side river, so they can actually continue to keep this push forward. That's the big advantages that Vitality have been able to get, is through these lanes, and they want to try and keep that one.
Well, game 1 by this point was pretty much Mad Lions dominated, significant lead, significant proactive play. The exact opposite is happening in game 2. And I gotta give credit to the observers. They smurfed on that Carzzy split cam following the Super Mega Death Rocket. He did pick up that kill. He's balanced out that CS difference, but look at the minimap. Look at the scoreboard. Advantage in the top lane for Photon. He's up 700 gold and looking to chase.
Oh no.
Equalizer is out. Electro Harpoons connect and he's overheated, can't get that flame spirit, but look at that damage and control. There's no support either. So Photon can just push this wave in. Jayce has to decide whether to commit that TP.
Level 9 for Photon.
2 levels up.
Yep.
You have to be careful for Vitality here, though. I think they're trying to set up for a play on bot side, actually. I was waiting to see where Chasy's TP was going to go, but he's going to immediately go back top, which means that now Vitality actually have a chance to go aggressive in mid and bot.
Well, Perkz goes forward. He's not going to be able to find the hijack. Keep your eyes on the minimap. Bo looking to flank out here. Elyoya and Hylissang. Hex flashes away.
I think he dodged the vision there with his Hex flash as well. Trying to stay in fog of war as much as possible, looking for something in the mid lane. They know that there's a ward in that bush.
They're back over. Do it again.
He will be spotted this time round. Gonna chop the sapling in.
They're hunting though, Kaiser's got that ulti available. Nature's Grasp starts to fly. Dredgeline won't find its target. Hilly buys some time with a hostile takeover. Will it be enough? Kaiser's already down. Carzzy now pushed away a little bit. Upset is low on mana. White blue guns running for his life. Rift Herald was dropped as well. That will charge and Bo will be taken out. Carzzy 2-0-1 right now.
Fantastic response from Mad Lions. Just very patient play. Hylissang sidestep, but Photon now looking for a fight with Chasy. Should be able to get away though. But huge credit to the Mad Lions. Like, they saw exactly what Vitality was trying to do and they shut that down.
Really well played, and it's the fact that you could barely see Elyoya try and sneak past that ult onto Elpset, but doesn't get it, doesn't matter, they still get the kill. A lot of trading back and forth in this mid lane, but I'm actually most worried about top. Photon's ultimate is about to come back off cooldown. You've Ignite there as well. You can see Chasy immediately have to give up all control over that top side.
Hylissang just being a nuisance in that bottom
as he
lane.
often is, just trying to screw up with that reset as Perkz secured his 3rd play of the game, 1.4k gold lead. Of course, that's the biggest thing to take away. Even though that bot lane play didn't go that well for Vitality, and by that well, I mean it went really, really bad, they still have a 2k gold lead, and that's because of their solo laners. Photon and Perkz are in such a great position with the advantages that they've been able to build.
And for Vitality, that's exactly what you wanted to see. We saw the Rumble being locked in early on in the draft in the Tristana, and they've been able to activate it exceptionally well. With the control that they've had in the lanes, now they're going to start off their 2nd dragon as well. And I will just take a quick second. I just want to highlight just Carzzy throughout the course of the bracket stage. This is excluding game number 1. But in terms of AD carries an impact for the team. 70% kill participation, 34% of his team's damage. Keep in mind, Nisqy has got a couple of those Gragas games under his belt, so they'll have a little bit of impact on it. But he may be called to action in this game because of the fact this Jinx will be so crucial in those team fights.
And that's the thing, Carzzy kind of gets left on his own, so Hilly can go and roam around the map, but it's that late game fight where Carzzy pops off and manages to make his name known. May not want to get involved in this fight, to be perfectly honest with. Vitality already having control over here. Photon missing on the map as well. He's in mid and could easily show up to this when Chasy can't.
Dagda, do you think they want this fight? The last time Mad picked the fight at Herald, it didn't go well.
Please don't. You don't know where Rumble is. You'll show him mid-wave now. They try for the steal, and I think Mad should just back away.
And they do that. Super Mega Death Rocket was thrown out. I think crucially here for Chasy, left alone in the top lane, so he's pushed that wave in. I think he's got himself a couple plates as well.
Look at Elyoya.
Picture-in-picture. Glacial Prison is going to be dashed away from thanks to the Gale Force. Handshake backwards. Upset firing with red-purple. Hostile takeover goes out and Upset survives with his life. Cleanse buying so much and Elyoya unable to find more.
Upset does about everything that he can there to escape with his life, throwing out the ultimate with the red gun just to be able to get some life back after Mad threw everything and the kitchen sink to try and secure that kill. Now though, Vitality, they're going to re-aggress. Mad Lions, they have to retreat.
Nyan Cat catches onto Hilly. Dredge line backwards, another kill, Upset securing it.
And I understand what Mad were trying to do. You look at the timer for Rift Herald, it's like, look, make a play, bot, kill Upset, we get control over top side, let's do it, slow down this game. But the problem is, they don't make it work. Now Vitality get the turnaround, and now Vitality get to move up towards this objective as well. They still have the big ultimate for Photon, they still have Perkz' ultimate, whereas when you look at all the flashes and those big ults that were burned for Mad, they're still going to be waiting a little bit of time before they come back up and available.
Perkz will be able to take out the first tower of the game here. 15 minutes in. Mad Lions will at least get their hands on the second Rift Herald, but you see a number of those mythics secured. Now for Vitality, they've got the tools, they've got the initiation, they've got the itemization to take advantage of this mid-game power that the Rumble Tristana Maokai is going to have. Right now, Elyoya is going to be able to challenge at least that skill. I think he ended up losing it at the end of the day. For Mad Lions, defensive game, got to play a little bit more cautious because every time that they did attempt to challenge earlier, they were punished by Vitality.
I would say that Vitality are spiking incredibly hard right now. With the Night Harvester finished for Photon, with the Kraken Slayer done for Perkz, Gale Force, Upset's had it for a while, but the BF Sword on top of that and the pickaxe as well. Like, Vitality's just in a really commanding position, and this is where Mad need to be very careful about how they play the next few moments, because Vitality can blow open this game.
There's 4 members of Vitality in the top lane. X-Flash over, the Krugs helping body block just a little. Glacial Prison flown out, and I actually really think those Krugs may have saved Mad Lion's life. The tower was secured, however, and Nisqy is left alone in the bottom lane. And I will just remind everybody, as we start to see these teams grouping up, keep your eyes on Carzzy. No flash for a few minutes, got the cleanse. Crucially, if he's able to survive and keep distance, once that burst comes down from the Rumble and the Trist, Carzzy can clean up, but it is going to be so hard. The team's down 3k. It's also a little bit behind as far as the damage is concerned.
Yeah, the big question mark, though, is how can Mad Lions try and play at these side lanes so then they don't have to try and fight against Vitality. It's very hard when you're put behind like this, but they do have double TP available, whereas you're only looking at the one for Perkz. So maybe there's opportunities for Mad Lions to try and make plays off sides, like pick off Photon or Perkz before they get to these big fights. And we kind of saw the attempt at it for Mad Lions just before Rift Herald, but if that goes a bit more successfully, maybe that's their way to slow down the pace of this game.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about Chasy. I mean, his Jayce, he's played it a few times, and in terms of his impact on the team's success or playing out, I think you can debate some of that. But this game, he has been able to stay within touching distance of Photon. How is he going to be playing now on the defensive foot, knowing it's going to be so hard if anyone jumps on him?
Yeah, at least having the Gore Drinker doesn't make that a little bit easier, because when you look at Vitality, very short range, probably going to get a lot of value out of the Gore Drinker. The big thing, though, is that you're going to be seen to, if you can try and set up for Mad with Poke, to try and poke down members of Vitality, you're not really getting vision control or getting set up properly in your lanes to try and make that one happen, which is why Mad are trying to brute force mid.
And look, there's not enough time. I mean, Chasy's going to arrive, but the fight's begun. Ridgeline connects, and that's already going to be a kill. Hylissang will be drop support for support. Elyoya stepping back. Chasy remains untouched. Carzzy now being focused by Upset. Photon buys some time going golden. Perkz and Upset continue to turn around, though. Chasy's firing shock blast after shock blast. 1 for 1, but there hasn't been enough damage just yet. Now Elyoya being burned down. Perkz looking for that reset, looking for the W, and the threat is still there.
This is where it's dangerous for Vitality. Mad still have that range. There's no engage tools left, so Mad going to see if they can continue to poke down Vitality.
It's important to recognize that Bo has chosen not to reset yet, staying in the bot river, relatively healthy, and the dragon spawns in about 25 seconds. Elyoya, though, quickly going back to base, means that he can restock on a few wards, also get some of his health back. Unfortunately for Mad Lions, in that last skirmish, they weren't able to time the Zhonya's correctly for Photon. Could have been another kill, with the dragon 10 seconds away. The big contest is over the mid push.
Herald as well, being dropped now. 5 seconds for that dragon. Equalizer's up in 5 seconds, in 4 seconds. Perkz goes up, the hijacked equalizer is dropped down from Nisqy. Nobody's down just yet. The pop comes out, the boop goes forward. Perkz is running for his life. The tower still stands. The dragon is up. Perkz can teleport in. How quickly can Mad secure the objective?
I mean, they don't have a huge amount of damage. You've even got the reset coming through from Nisqy to try and come back in. It's stopped by Vitality, though.
6,000 HP on the dragon. Teleport coming out. Nisqy hops into the pit. The Nature's Grot locks down Hilly. That Photon is throwing out the equalizer. He gets the kill. The dragon pit is still now under control by Vitality. That Perkz gets another. Reset through the W. Looking for Hilly. Finds the slow, finds the autos, finds another kill. And Vitality crush in the dragon pits.
Vitality win another fight. They won the one at Herald earlier, and they were able to come out on top this time round. When I saw Carzzy getting another kill, I thought that could have been Mad Lions' opportunity to snowball things away. But the damage at the start of the fight was devastating. Bo's ultimate combined with Photon onto both Chasy and Carzzy completely disrupted the fight and forced Mad into chaos.
It's just a really good engage by Bo here to actually get on towards Chasy. You get the ultimate there, moves in, manages to get the CC again to follow up, and just awkward positioning there for Mad where Carzzy has to try and move off. He has no real protection for himself there, which means that Perkz, after he gets Hilly away, is able to turn on towards Carzzy. And Nisqy tried his best in the pit, but there's just too many members of Vitality in the party.
I'm gonna call that Maokai Rumble combination, the Forest Fire managing to burn down Mad Lions. But I think more importantly for me, 2 big neutral objectives, fights going alright. The Rift Herald at like 8ish minutes and this Dragon. Mad Lions opted into both of them. Mad Lions punished. Bloodthirster and Kraken Slayer and a level advantage.
Oh my God.
And Chasy is being melted by Perkz. That felt personal.
Chasy holding onto the flash, waiting for the W, but now Mad Lions on the attack.
All right, there goes the chains. Depth charge out as well. Upsets. Moonlight Vigil is wrecking through Mad Lions. Bo, however, forced to flash into the pit. Here comes Photon. Equalizer is going to be sidestepped for now. Upset trying to gain range. Gale forces forward. Gets 1, gets 2, and Elyoya is going to be the last to fall. Vitality looking for an ace as Elyoya is running for his life. He managed to pick himself up a double. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy. Sejuani will get Dredge line back and the ace for Vitality.
That might have been the worst possible spot for Mad to try and fight. Maokai ultimate, Infernum on upset. He gets the big ultimate in the middle of that. And even though Photon completely whiffed with the equalizer, it didn't matter. It's just taking pop shots at everyone who's lined up neatly for Vitality.
And Vitality, we talked about it in the draft, how they wanted to play this front-to-back teamfight composition, and they continue to play it well. Mad see a window where they can force something with Perkz no end of the fight. They get perhaps a 4 versus 3, but Rumble is able to quickly collapse as Bo and Kaiser buy a huge amount of time. Look at the chain CC, the Infernum landing onto 2. Bo is able to flash away to safety, but then Photon splits up the team fight, draws the attention of 3, chips away Hylissang, and Upset's able to clean up the fight.
A little surprised at that second kill hit from Elyoya at the end, but for Upset, 5-0-4. For Perkz, 4-0-5, and crucially, every single fight that Vitality have been involved in has gone their way. So they are now up 6,000 gold. 2 minutes till the next Dragon. Baron has spawned. The Mad Lions, they are not going to have enough time to get any poke down from Jayce, because every time Vitality line up, they are initiating and going forward, and Perkz looking to do the same again.
And this is where Mad Lions basically have to concede all that pressure in the top side. Yes, Chase will get terror, but this opportunity for Vitality to fight in these chokes is so good for their composition. It's why Perkz is stepping forward so confidently, knowing that he'll have that follow-up. Now Vitality start the Baron to get the TP.
Do they stick on it or not? If they stick on it and flip it, this could get risky. Dredgeline connects onto Carzzy. No flash, no cleanse, and he's about to go down. Bailout will help, brings him back up for a second before Perkz drops him once again. Bo has stuck inside the Baron pit. It ends up being a 1-for-1. Perkz trying to zone away the members of Mad Lions, and Baron is secured. They get the kill, they get the neutral.
Vitality in so much more control than compared to last game. They're playing these fights so much cleaner, and it's Kaiser who initiates the fight, landing a great hook, I believe, onto Carzzy, and the follow-up is clean. The Rumble ultimate comes out with zero hesitation, but we see another fight in mid.
All right, Perkz, level 15 into Nisqy's 13. He's going to look for this kill here. Finds it in a second. One more auto into Elyoya. Baron and Partney as well. That's going on. Bo plus Photon able to take down Chasy. It does end up being a 1-for-1. But now Perkz gets another. It looks like he gets a tower as well.
It was a 2v1. That was against the mid laner and the jungler. Perkz just stands there and goes, yeah, I can right-click. That's all good.
2v1 into a champion that had 4,000 gold lead, a 2-level advantage, and they didn't like combo up the CC. Bold move, Cotton. It did not pay off.
You can see the smile on Perkz' face, a big bounce back after the camping in game one, and you can imagine that wanting to get revenge on the mid jungle that caused him so much suffering is very much would make him happy.
And it also feels like Vitality found a lot of the answers to the questions we had in draft. What's he do with a Chase? You put him in the dirt with a Rumble pick, although Chasy does manage to get some revenge with this one. And then also looking to see what the story is with the Jinx pick. Well, this Aphelios is popping off as well at times, making sure that it's very difficult for Mad to really try and play around Carzzy in the same way we've seen them do all playoffs long.
You can see how Perkz just stands there and right-clicks, but now he's getting CC'd once again, but he doesn't care.
No, there's no follow-up. No, not enough range. Kaiser was able to zone them away. Elyoya's burning away. Perkz takes a couple rockets to the face and immediately replies back. Carzzy's running for his life. Vitality got themselves gigantically. The soul is available for them as well.
Of course, Perkz has a great game in the AD carry. You know, it's just going back to his roots, really, right?
Yeah. You know, it's funny when, you know, his most recent, when you think about it, success was when he was playing AD carry for G2, and fans will say he just needs to go back to AD, and he said, okay.
Can I be a little bit more specific? His most recent success and winning splits and as a whole. And the reason I want to be specific, the two previous games of Tristana that Perkz played this spring, or this winter, 1-3-1, 0-4-1.
Oh, fair.
So when I have seen this Tristana from Perkz, third time is the charm. So
I mean, of course, it's also important to note, Perkz was victorious over North America as a mid laner, of course, winning MVP over there. His return to Europe since then, though, has not been quite as fortunate. He's been struggling to get back on top, and this could be the Vitality squad that gets him there. Reuniting with BDS, perhaps to get revenge. There's still a long way to go, but Vitality looking good in game two, looking to equalize this series, and Vitality with the Baron now sieging onto the tier 2.
Perkz, if you can get Vitality to their first finals as an organization, you'd also be one step closer to overtaking Caps as the player with the highest number of titles in LEC, where Caps and Perkz have 8 respectively. That's something that he is playing for in this game. Definitely a strong answer from game number 1. Dredge line comes out.
Oh, look at Carzzy.
Just burning down Carzzy. The forest fire doing work. Super Mega Death Rocket comes out and hits the giant tree in the face. Now, the tower does still stand. Ultimately, Mad Lions, they only survived that engage. But for how much longer is the question? Vitality have not let up. They're looking to re-aggress on the inhibitor turrets.
Carzzy's healed up, though, and now walking back out. Terror will be gone, though. Vitality, get onto Nisqy.
Oh, Nisqy's dropping low. Check's not going to be there. Rocket jumps forward. Carzzy flash, followed by Perkz. The auto's not going to find the grip just yet, but this will be the damage. 1-2 members dropped already. Carzzy on the fountain taken out, and underneath the steps, Perkz picks up a couple more. The base is broken. 22 kills to 11. 10,000 gold the lead. And an even quicker game time than game 1. Vitality looking to bounce back.
It was 13 kills for Nisqy in game 1. It's 10 kills for Perkz in game 2. The mid laners are looking to pop off in this series as Vitality, sub 30 minutes as well, is looking to end game 2.
Dominant win for Man in game 1. Dominant win from Vitality in game 2. Nexus will be the final target. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody else, we've got a series on our hands.
It had to be said, but man, I love this series. The fact that we get an absolute storm of performance from Mad Lions, for Vitality to then come up with answers in game 2. It feels like there's so much between these two teams that we've still yet to uncover, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen as we go into game 2.
So in game number 1, Bo was a no-show. In game number 2, he showed up and managed to enable both Photon as well as Perkz. So very good performance there from Vitality, but 2 very one-sided games. significant change in draft, and now be up to Mad Lions. Do they go blue? Do they go red? And what will their adaptation be, if any?
I had some concerns at the beginning of the draft for Vitality, where I was a little bit like, you don't really have much threat to Carzzy.
You had a lot of thoughts, I remember.
Yeah, I did, many. And I thought that with Nisqy and his ability to steal away things like the Maokai ultimate, the Rumble ultimate, combined with the Sejuani, the poke from both the Jinx and the Jayce, it would be difficult for Vitality to be able to find these good front-to-back team fights, but they were able to find them, and very consistently. The first Herald, the third Dragon, and the choke point around blue buff, these 3 fights are really the defining factor that every single time Vitality was able to come out on top, and huge respect to them because Perkz was massive in the fights, Photon's ultimates were massive in the fights, and if things were looking dangerous, Upset was able to clean up. So overall, Vitality came up huge.
And I think that's the big one, is the fact that the top side of the map did step up. Because ideally you have this massive Sejuani, you can stand in front and then say, you know, no access to my backline, but because you had Rumble, who was huge, Tristana was tearing her apart with the Kraken Slayer, Sejuani never really got to be that front line. So every time the Maokai came out, our ult came through, she was gone.
I was sitting there being like, how much dive threat do they have for the Jinx? And then they didn't need to dive at all. Maokai ultimate into Rumble ultimate, she just died. So beautiful play from Vitality. They look good in game 2. Now the responsibility falls on Mad to be the adapters.
And of course, the question is going to be whether or not any significant changes come. Producer telling me we are going to head over to Ender at the Telestrator to break down that lower semi-final, game 2.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Yeah, we're going to look at a pivotal moment here where Mad Lions may have had a chance to come back into the game. Now, it's no surprise Vitality got off to a fantastic start and were able to close this one on through. But even down a couple thousand gold, there was a team fight around mid and eventually the Dragon, in which Mad Lions were so close and yet so far from it slipping away for them. The 2 main mistakes: A, mistiming the stopwatch on Photon, and then a stolen Rumble ultimate that went awry. So I believe we can go ahead and play this clip out and follow what Mad Lions are trying to do. First, it's Chasy sort of on the side here looking for some poke off the wall as the engage comes in onto the team. And it looks bad at the start, right? Kaiser and Hylissang are able to trade out, but then coming off of this stopwatch here at the very end, the get excited from Jinx ends up getting delayed, and then the zap comes in too early, the Q as well, and the Sylas just barely doesn't connect for them. That's kill opportunity miss number 1. That would have allowed them to have full control over mid, over Dragon, and eventually take that one as it was just going to spawn in about 20 seconds. But they still fight over this wave. Everyone gets back onto the field as they call in the Herald. There's a stolen Rumble ultimate from Nisqy, and watch this. It doesn't go the right direction. He puts it into mid, I think trying to give some cover. It almost looks like it's the enemy team's ultimate. And if it had gone more on towards Perkz falls again. That turns into the Dragon. Here's where things get really problematic. They trap themselves inside the pit. Hylissang was looking for this odd flank, but it ends up just being completely disjointed from the Mad Lions as they get sort of split apart. Hylissang doesn't have the ability to influence in that fight, and they are just running in all separate directions. Vitality off the resets with multiple players going back to base, TPing in, running back in. They get all their health bar and mana pool back up, and they cruise through the fight. There was a chance there for a moment for Mad, but it falls away in the end. Now, after the break, the Analyst desk is going to be running us through picks and bans, so don't go anywhere.